This video is about deposing standard of care expert. In many cases, you'll have an expert opine on the relevant standard of care. The plaintiff's expert will opine that the defendant did not meet the appropriate standard of care, and the defendant's expert will opine that the defendant did meet the appropriate standard of care. And so whenever you're deposing a standard of care expert, go through their report, their opinions, and their file with your own expert. Determine what standard of care they're applying. Sometimes there are regulations that are applicable. Sometimes they are standards of care created by third parties. Sometimes they're just common sense. So you have to define what standard of care the expert is applying, how he or she determined that was the appropriate standard of care, and have those conversations with your own expert. Is the opposing counsel using or applying the appropriate standard of care? Are they applying the standard of care that was relevant and enforced at the time of the incident versus one that is being used now or one that was used earlier in time? Are they using the proper tools to reach their conclusions? Are they making the right calculations? And do they have all the appropriate evidence? Remember, when you're attacking a person's standard of care evidence, ask them the following questions. Determine whether they determined or evaluated all the relevant facts that are applicable. Did they take into consideration all the relevant data and evidence? Did they properly apply the standard of care to their case? Did they look at the proper evidence and use the proper calculations? Did they have the appropriate support for the standard of care that they're using? Is there evidence that they didn't consider? Are there any X factors, any information or data that is not currently relevant or available that could change ultimately their calculations? And have them talk about the standard of care your expert is using. Is the standard of care you want to apply appropriate? Is it appropriate in this case? If not, why not? Ultimately, there's a debate or argument over what the appropriate standard of care is and whether it was properly applied or not. So you really want to get to the underlying opinions of that expert and why he or she reached those conclusions, and find a way to challenge them. Either challenge them with the facts, challenge them with issues that they haven't determined, or challenge them with other witness statements. And as always try to find if that expert has ever discussed that standard of care in other cases and possibly disagreed with them. Most experts are ones that have testified in multiple matters, and sometimes some of them will reach different conclusions on the same set of facts depending on who hired them. And if you can find a transcript or a report where they've reached the exact opposite conclusion with similar facts, then you have a gold mine to undermine their credibility.